Alright, this lesson is going to describe and show you the steps necessary to create the fruit face or the pear face. You're going to take your image or an image of a famous person, put their image onto an apple, an orange, a tomato, a watermelon, some other object. And what you're going to do is you're going to blend these two images together in such a way that they look as if they are one image. And so that's really our goal here, is to take two images, one of our face, one of an object, and then to get those two images to look as though our face is part of that object. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got two images. One is an Apple JPEG, and the other one is a JPEG of myself that I took. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Photoshop, and when opening Photoshop, I'm going to open up these two images and put them together accordingly. So what we're going to do here is first is we're going to open the Apple, make sure that we have a correct file type that we can open this and use. And let's see what we got here. So we'll go to our Apple JPEG, and notice it's actually pretty small. We're going to enlarge this a bit because the other image that we're going to open up is my image, and making sure we have the correct image there, and you can see it's quite a bit larger. So what I'm going to have to do is make my image quite a bit smaller. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to take my image and take this image size down and match them up so that they're relatively the same size. And as you can see, I'm just going to take it down to about 100 in the width. I do want the constrained proportions on because I want these two to be the same, because I don't want to have the width just change or just have the height change. I want them both to change so it stays proportionally correct and doesn't distort the image. So now I'm going to change this down to about, we'll take it down to about 150, even 200 would be fine because we can always make it a little smaller. So let's just do that. Let's make it a 150, and it changes it accordingly. And you can see it's very small. We'll zoom in, and then you can see the other one is also changing because they are on the screen together, zooming in. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to lasso my image here and drag it over and onto the Apple. So that's what we're going to do next. Now, you did see me just enlarge this Apple a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scale it down here in a minute, but you can see it's a little pixelated because of what I did. So we're not going to be too concerned with that at this moment. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here again, and I'm going to lasso just around my eyebrows, chin, and nose. I'm going to use the normal lasso tool. I could use the polygonal lasso, and that's probably what I'm going to do. And I'm going to set my feather to, let's just go ahead and set it at 4 pixels. Oops, 45, that's too much. We'll set it at 4. And so I'm going to go ahead and lasso here, and just clicking around the edges of my face, and we will then place this, drag it over to the other layer of the Apple. Alright, and you can see it's rounded everything off, and that's due to the amount of feathering that I did. So it's rounded everything off nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Now before we go any further, I'm going to open up my layers palette so we can see that, and I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to do the same thing here as unlock this Apple image, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste it over here. So I'm just going to drag it over and drop it, and notice it's much larger. I can actually get rid of my image now. I'm just going to throw this down to the dock, and I'm going to zoom back out here. So let's get our zoom tool. We're going to zoom out, and now we can actually see what this is going to look like here. And I went just a little too far. There we go. And so now I'm going to work with this. I'm going to place my image on this Apple here. And let's zoom back out here. Let's undo what I just did there. And we will quickly zoom out here. And actually we may need to go back to my face here and redo what I just did. There we go. Place it back on there. There we go. Now, what you see here is my image placed on here. So how are we going to make this work? Well, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this image and we're going to erase a little bit. And so I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to make sure I'm selected on the correct one, make it a nice soft brush, and I'm going to erase around the areas that I don't need. Now, currently, just going to keep my eyebrows there. I'm going to get some of my cheekbones gone here, and I'm going to keep the chin, okay, and come in and around here, clean up just a little bit of extra that I don't need, and there we go. So we're good to go there. All right. You may want to erase a little bit more out of the nose, which you'll probably see me do here in a moment, and a little bit around the lips and things. I would need a smaller brush. But before we do that, the next step is going to be taking our image and going to adjustments and changing the color balance. And what we're going to do right now is try to just slightly change the color here, not to the point where my face is completely green, but we're going to try to get close to this color. So it's only going to change it slightly. Okay? We're not going to be able to match the color perfectly on the first try here. So let's just go ahead and move our sliders here and see what we come up with. That's a little too red. Here we go, a little more on the cyan, which cyan is what color? It's blue. Now I can go to my green here and add a little green in. And notice it's not completely green, but it's getting there. I can also add a little yellow, or I can add in a little blue, and I think yellow is actually a little better there. Maybe not too much, so we'll just do a little bit there. There we go, and I'm going to say okay, so that's good enough to start. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my image mode and adjustments, and I'm going to go to my hue and saturation. And I'm not going to be concerned with the lightness, and on this I'm just going to go with my hue, and let's see if I can change that a little bit to a better green, and there we go. Notice I'm not changing it much. Too much, you wash out everything that you've done. I'm just going to try to get that to a green color, and I like it to the point where I'm getting rid of those skin tones. And just past that point, I'm just getting rid of those skin tones. Maybe just a little bit of darkness in there. Because as you can see around the outer edge of that apple, it's kind of got a dark green. So having my face around my eyes have a little bit of that dark green color is okay. All right, and we're just getting rid of that skin color. Not too green, but just matching. Really what I'm looking for is how the area around my eyes and cheeks, where that blend is with my skin tone, is it blending in with the apple. And saturation, not really going to need to go there too much. I think that one's pretty close, so I may just leave it there. All right, and lightness and darkness, we're not going to mess with it because it's just going to go too white or too dark. We're just going to leave it at 0. And I'm going to say okay. Now at this point, I got a pretty good image going here. Yours will probably look a little bit clearer than mine because I took a pretty small image and tried to blow it up. Yours won't be as pixely as mine. In fact, I'll probably redo this lesson later on so it's not so pixely. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end this lesson, and we're going to come back and we're actually going to work with another part of this image, and we're going to use our different color levels with the RGB, the red, green, and blue levels, to really match this color. I'm also going to get rid of this really bright spot in my face. All right, and then we're going to do another layer, and we'll be done. It's really not a very difficult project. All right, if you need to talk to me in class, just call me over if you need help with this, or email me. I'm always available. All right, good luck, and let me know if you need help.